Good afternoon, everybody. It's MicheleMarieDalene, and it's the February 26th, 2013, and it, of course, is one of the first times in a while I've done a video right after another one. But today's video, if you saw the short 1 minute blurb, is first of all, I want to offer a public apology. And I wanted to go into a little more detail than the short little one, only because I thought the little one was a little bit short. So let me just take some time to explain what's going on here. First of all, Mr. Michael Gene Vitali and I had a chance to sit down and resolve the matter between us. It turns out that there was other parties that kind of instigated the whole thing. I'm not going to give names. It turns out that it was the same source that gave me information. Also, he asked her for information, and she took some of his questions to imply that he was trying to do ill will. It wasn't the case at all. It just turns out that he was asking her questions about me, which perhaps that may not have been the best thing for him to do. But he didn't. He told me, he swore up and down. He says, I did not go out there and badmouth you all over town. He says, I never even did that. I just asked her for some answers. And she told me that, she was wondering why you and I never would get together. I said, well, first of all, it's not anything strictly against you, Mike. I just don't think it would ever work. And I said, but you did say something to me about a week ago that kind of made me wonder if there was something going on. And it turned out there was not. He said to me, he says, well, I only said what I said because she was kind of trying to tell me that she thinks that you and I should have gone out together. And I was very uncomfortable with the concept. In other words, this person was trying to act as a Yenta matchmaker, trying to match me up with him. Me and Mike had talked about this in the past, only to realize that, of course, that such a joining would be and really not a good idea at all. But as far as the other woman in the video that he's seeing now, and her attitude towards me, he said to me, he said, honestly, he says, I think she's just very insecure about her own situations, and unfortunately she kind of thinks that you're trying to steal me away from her. I said, but that doesn't make any sense, considering the fact is we already discussed that this isn't going to work anyway, so how can she sit there and say that I'm trying to steal you away from you? And so it's just a complicated case of he said, she said, they said. But in the long term, we mended our fences. We kind of began the process of dialogue. Now, at the same time, my aunt was admonishing me for bringing it up on the Facebook. I also suggested to my aunt that we need to have a family summit. And I'm going to stand behind that topic, because there's a lot going on in my life that my aunt and I are very much, this is my father's sister. And she has always been a very open, well-educated individual, as is my uncle. And there were things said long ago when I was a younger person, which my mother had taken again and decided to enforce family sanctions against me for that reason, that I was a hot-headed person who had basically unfortunately at that time had approached the problem growing up in the wrong way, but that's common. I think that's not unusual. So what you get is you get these people who are sitting out there going, oh, well, my mother particularly took it hard, and then she told me to go get AIDS and drop dead. She said to me many times over the years, and of course in the end I finally just had to just walk, shake the dust of her home from my feet and just walk out the door and say, Mom, I'm not going to get that because of 2 reasons. Number 1, I don't even have sex. And number 2, I'm not an IV drug user. And number 3, if I ever have an accident in this country, the blood supply of the United States has been properly filtered by the Red Cross to make sure that there is no AIDS in the blood of the United States. Can't say the same is true of other countries, but I know that they have been working globally to make sure that the blood supply of the various countries is safe for use for transfusions and accidents. See, the point is that my mother's ill will of wanting me to get AIDS and die, well, it's not going to happen. Unfortunately, if my mother said, go get liver disease and die, then my mom would have gotten exactly what she wants. Because you see, I have a congenital liver condition, which is called, it's one of 2 conditions I've heard from my medical doctor. The first one is called hypercholesterolemia, and the second one is called hypolipidemia, which has to do with the way my liver isn't properly processing the thiamine and other things to make the proper levels of good and bad cholesterol. I am taking prescription medications for this purpose, and so therefore, if my mother had said that to me, go get hypercholesterolemia and die, she probably would have gotten exactly what she wanted. However, to accuse me of suggesting I should get AIDS and die is really just kind of bad taste. I'm never going to get AIDS because I never do sex and I'm not an IV drug user. And in the case of an accident or anything like that, the blood supply of the country's blood supply has actually been very carefully screened for the AIDS virus. Fortunately enough, I have never had to be in the hospital, so therefore I don't think that's a problem. Now, today we're going to talk about, did some more research because I couldn't sleep very well last night. I was just curious to know what's going on the technology side of things. After all, lately, between the weather and everything else, actually we should talk about the weather first. We're going to supposedly get some snow tonight here in New England, in Winston. Nothing major. I've heard anywhere from 2 to 5 inches tonight. And then tomorrow might get a little more, but that's about it. It's going to really be wet, heavy stuff. It's not going to be the light, fluffy kind of snow. Only because the temperatures are too warm right now to have the light, fluffy stuff come, according to the information from the Weather Channel. Now, the Midwest has had 2 significant snowfalls in a very short time of each other, which is going to seriously, temporarily help with the drought conditions in the Midwest. But I don't really think it's going to be a long-term solution to their problems, but it's going to help a bit for now. Now, there's still quite a few inches below where they should be for this time of year, so it's going to take a lot more snow to rebuild the aquifers. Now, like I was trying to say a couple nights ago, and I unfortunately fumbled the words, so let me try it again. Snowpack is like an extended release tablet for revitalizing the aquifers, because it melts slowly into the ground, and when it does, the aquifers begin the process of slowly refilling. That's what I was trying to say, and then of course I got so tongue twisted it came out kind of weird. Also, what I said last night about my computer is equally true. I said about the Apple desktop bus, and then I constantly kept twisting the words and floundering as my tongue seem to wrap around itself. So let's try again. The reason why it would be very easy for my cat to turn off my computer with this paw is I am using an older Macintosh keyboard which uses an Apple desktop bus connection connected to my eMac with an iMate Apple desktop bus connector to USB connector. And this little device allows for the normal complete functions of the standard Mac keyboard to be functional, including the power down key, which on many older Mac keyboards is on the upper right hand corner. In fact, in many Macs, if you press that keyboard key, it actually will ask you if you want to shut down the computer. If you say nothing over a period of time, it automatically starts the process, usually after a minute. So therefore, it would be very easy for my cat to have put his paw on that key and begin the process, not knowing that he could cancel it by pressing the escape key. He's a cat, okay? Cats don't necessarily study computer technology, so it's very easy to do that. But, on the other hand, as I also said last night, our other computer also went offline around the same time, which means that there must have been a short, intermittent power failure in the building, which caused the computer to just power down unintended, and that's apparently what must have happened. Now, because our lights for the studio run on 12 volts DC, it really can't tell if the mains fail, because those lights, especially right now, are not really the main light source for the video. In this case, most of the light is coming out of the window and from the additional fill light, which is also on right now, along with the ceiling light fixtures. In other words, this room is pretty well lit at this point. Let's see what else. The last piece of information I wanted to talk about is what we were talking about with cell phones. I just only want to bring this up because I did some research into it. There is evidence that Verizon Wireless and, yes, Sprint as well. Now, this is fairly old information, but has actually been reinforced with more recent data, is intending to phase out CDMA for the purpose of going to LTE, which is a GSM type protocol. Now, in addition to that, there's also some confusion because I've also heard that AT&T wants to phase out 2G GSM by 2017. But what does that do for the typical function of making phone calls? When we talk about the 2G, 3G, 4G, we're usually talking about data functions. But it doesn't seem to be very clear on how that affects the main purpose of a phone in the first place, to make phone calls. I need to do some more research into that until I can give you an honest-to-God answer as I can. Right now, it sounds like T-Mobile plans to keep 2G indefinitely, along with their 3G and 4G operations. After all, how much resources does 2G really take versus 3G and 4G? And also, how does 2G versus 3G versus 4G affect voice communications? Metro PCS, prior to being purchased by T-Mobile, was in the process of working a voice over internet service. VoIP, voice over IP. Okay. In this case, they're calling it. I'm not sure what they were calling it. Voice over IP still sounds accurate. In other words, the phone itself doesn't actually use the basics of the CDMA protocol to actually make and receive phone calls, or rather the phone would use something similar to a Vonage type voice over IP approach. By the way, there's a similar program available for the iPhone 3GS and newer. It might interest you if you want to be able to make and receive phone calls. It is from Google. It's actually called Google Voice. It's based on the Google Voice protocol. However, this product is made by another company. It's called MO Plus. MO Plus means, there's mobile voice connection, basically. Which means you give yourself an assigned phone number, which you assign over there at Google Plus or Google Voice sign up. And what it will let you do is it'll let you talk to your friends and family without using actual cellular minutes. Unless you're stuck using 3G, in that case, you're going to use minutes. But if you're using Wi-Fi, it means you can talk for free. And there is no per minute charge. I don't know how long it's going to stay free, but for now, it's free. Also allows you to text to and from all other cell phones for free. So, that's pretty cool. And, in fact, right now, I have suggested that people use that as a way to contact me. By the way, for those of you who would like to have my phone number, I know some of you will. Contact me if you really need it, okay? I will give you access to that phone number because the fact is some people like phone numbers and some people don't. Now, lastly, and I'm going to wrap this up because I got so many things I got to do today. Lumi is going to be doing a video soon. Yes, finally. And so she'll probably will be doing the next one. What? When? Today. Today? I haven't even gotten my material together yet. Well, that's life. Yeah, I guess so. All right. Second of all is, like we can both say, please check out our website. Please check out the website. It's absolutely, positively great. It's a fresh data out there. Lots of data. http://www. Oops, wrong one, but still might as well finish it. Yeah, www.youtube.com/USER/BICHELA4, which is where this video originates from, which you can check it out there. And now, for your information on where you can find out about us specifically, it's pinkrose.dhis.org. And Grace, I'm also on Facebook. And she's on Twitter. And I'm on MySpace and Google Plus and everywhere else. Trust me, she gets around. I get around. So, that's about it for now. And, oh, by the way, Mr. Chris Perillo and Mr. Joe Perillo. I love your videos. They're wonderful. I think it's funny to see, it's beautiful to see a father and his son both doing their own YouTube channels, constantly coming up with new information. Of course, Chris Perillo is sometimes known as the Locker Gnome. And, of course, Joe Perillo's channel is just called Joe Perillo. Yep. So he's an older man. He's a decent guy, though. He seems to be a very, very nice man. And so is his son. So get a chance, watch their channels, and have fun. We'll see you soon.